The morning sky over Dubai shimmered with hues of gold as the massive Airbus A380 stood tall on the runway, its colossal frame gleaming under the desert sun. Airport ground crews moved with synchronized precision, dwarfed by the aircraft's immense size. The engines, silent for now, seemed to hum with anticipation, as if aware of the journey they were about to undertake. Passengers, some gazing out from the expansive windows and others fastening their seatbelts, could feel the quiet excitement building inside the cabin. The flight crew in the cockpit ran through their final checks, hands moving across the glowing panels of the control systems with practiced ease. The tower cleared them for takeoff, and with that, the dormant giant came alive. A low rumble grew into a powerful roar as the four Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines ignited, sending vibrations across the tarmac. The ground beneath seemed to shake, the air filled with the thunderous power of thousands of pounds of thrust. Slowly at first, the massive aircraft began to roll forward, wheels gripping the runway as the acceleration built. The sheer size of the plane made its motion look surreal, as though something so vast and heavy could not possibly lift from the earth. Yet the A380 was built to defy such doubts. With every passing second, the engines pushed harder, and the behemoth surged down the runway, gathering speed like a charging titan. Inside, passengers gripped their seats, feeling the exhilarating pressure push them back as the nose of the aircraft began to tilt upwards. In one breathtaking motion, the A380 broke free from the ground, its wings stretching wide against the sky. The sensation was smooth yet awe-inspiring, as if the city of Dubai itself paused to watch the giant rise. The world's tallest skyscraper, the Burj Khalifa, gleamed in the distance, momentarily catching the reflection of the aircraft's shining fuselage as it climbed higher. The desert stretched endlessly beyond, its golden sands blending seamlessly with the horizon. Below, the airport grew smaller and smaller, until it seemed like a toy set scattered against the vast landscape. The engines maintained their steady roar, carrying the aircraft higher into the clear morning sky. The A380, often called the King of the Skies, was once again proving its majestic title, commanding respect from all who watched. As the climb continued, the beauty of Dubai revealed itself in full. The shimmering waters of the Arabian Gulf sparkled under the rising sun, and the iconic Palm Jumeirah stood out like a masterpiece carved into the ocean. From the cockpit, the pilots could see the city's skyline transform into a glittering jewel beneath them, skyscrapers rising like glass towers etched against the desert backdrop. The sight was mesmerizing, a view only a handful of aircraft could provide with such grandeur. The passengers, too, felt the magic of the moment. Children pressed their faces to the windows, marveling at how small the world seemed from above, while adults sat back, quietly appreciating the power of human engineering that allowed them to soar thousands of feet into the sky. The climb was steady, graceful, almost poetic. The A380 glided as though weightless, leaving behind a trail that shimmered faintly in the morning light. The city grew distant now, a patchwork of lights, towers, and sands merging into one. The desert faded into soft waves of gold, while the coastline curved elegantly toward the horizon. Every second carried the aircraft farther into the skies, a true king reclaiming his throne above the world. The journey had only just begun, but already the spectacle of takeoff and ascent had etched itself into the memory of those lucky enough to witness it. Inside the massive body of the Airbus A380, the atmosphere was both futuristic and serene. Every detail of its engineering spoke of decades of research, innovation, and an unrelenting pursuit of perfection. The enormous wings, stretching wider than a football field, sliced through the air with elegant precision, carrying the weight of the double-decked marvel effortlessly. Each wing flexed with a gentle rhythm, designed not just for strength but for grace, bending with the currents of the sky rather than resisting them. Beneath the wings, the four mighty Rolls-Royce engines continued their steady thunder, each one capable of producing enough thrust to propel smaller jets entirely on its own. Together, they worked in harmony, lifting the colossal aircraft to altitudes that defied imagination. The cabin hummed softly with the vibration of the engines, yet inside it felt astonishingly calm, as though the passengers were moving through the sky in silence. This balance between raw power and smooth comfort was the signature of the A380, a flying machine that was both beast and beauty. The cockpit, glowing with advanced digital displays, showed the pilots every detail of the aircraft's performance. From fuel efficiency to turbulence predictions, from altitude adjustments to autopilot calibrations, nothing escaped the systems carefully designed to make flying this giant not only possible but reliable. The pilots, seated in the heart of this technological marvel, trusted the engineering completely, though their eyes remained focused on every gauge, every command. The A380 was more than just an aircraft, it was a statement of what human ambition and ingenuity could achieve. Passengers moved about the cabin with ease, marveling not just at the size of the plane but at the feeling of stability it carried. Unlike smaller jets, the A380 seemed to glide with little disturbance, its massive weight countering the turbulence of the atmosphere. For those on board, it was a floating palace, an engineering miracle where speed, power, and comfort blended seamlessly. This was no ordinary flight, it was a journey in a machine that redefined the limits of aviation. As the hours passed, the experience shifted from marveling at the technology to indulging in the unmatched luxury within. The upper deck of the A380 revealed a world few passengers ever expected to find in the sky. First-class suites offered complete privacy, with sliding doors, reclining seats that transformed into full beds, and soft lighting designed to mimic natural sunlight. Attendants moved gracefully down the aisles, offering drinks on silver trays and serving gourmet meals that rivaled fine restaurants. In business class, travelers lounged in wide, comfortable seats, sipping champagne while watching the world drift by through expansive windows. Even the economy section, often overlooked in most planes, felt generous with its spacious seating, wider aisles, and modern entertainment systems that offered hundreds of options. But it wasn't just the seats or the food that set the A380 apart. It was the little things, the quietness of the cabin despite the massive engines, the availability of lounges where passengers could gather for conversation, and even the onboard showers available in some of the most luxurious sections. To fly on the A380 wasn't just to travel, it was to experience an entirely new concept of air travel. Above the clouds, thousands of feet in the sky, people dined, laughed, relaxed, and lived as though the air itself was their second home. Outside, the sun dipped lower, casting warm streaks of amber across the wings. Through the windows, passengers caught glimpses of the world below, tiny landscapes unfolding like a map. The aircraft maintained its steady course, a smooth and quiet glide that belied the immense complexity keeping it aloft. Every moment inside this giant was designed to make the impossible feel ordinary, to turn the once unimaginable dream of luxury in the sky into a tangible reality. And as the A380 continued its voyage, those on board understood that they weren't just flying. They were part of something bigger, something that captured the essence of human progress and the boundless beauty of the skies. The descent toward Dubai began just as the horizon caught fire with color. The sky turned into a masterpiece, painted with strokes of deep orange, brilliant gold, and fading purple as the sun dipped lower with each passing minute. The Airbus A380, vast and commanding, flew gracefully against this glowing backdrop, its silhouette outlined by the last rays of daylight. From inside, passengers pressed their foreheads to the windows, awestruck by the sight. The city below started to glitter as evening lights came alive, skyscrapers glowing like lanterns scattered across the desert. The Burj Khalifa pierced the skyline, its tip catching the final kiss of sunlight before sinking into the night. Out over the Arabian Gulf, the waters shimmered with reflections of fire from the sky, waves turning into sheets of molten bronze. The A380, steady as ever, carved its path through the heavens, looking every bit like a monarch gliding over its kingdom. The cabin grew quiet, filled with an unspoken reverence as the sunset deepened. Some passengers reached for cameras and phones, desperate to capture the sight, while others simply watched in silence, unwilling to interrupt the serenity of the moment. The aircraft tilted slightly, banking over the coastline, and the angle revealed the Palm Jumeirah below, its distinctive shape illuminated by hundreds of tiny lights. From above, it resembled a glowing crown resting upon the sea. The atmosphere felt almost magical, a blend of nature's grandeur and human achievement woven together in one breathtaking scene. For the crew in the cockpit, it was another reminder of why they loved to fly, the chance to witness sunsets most of the world could only dream of. And for those seated behind them, it was an unforgettable view that would linger in memory long after the journey ended. As the final threads of daylight gave way to night, the A380 began its approach. The great aircraft, though mighty and vast, descended with elegance, its flaps extending, its engines humming at a lower pitch, guiding it smoothly toward the runway lights that sparkled in the distance. The desert winds whispered across the fuselage, but inside, all was calm. The passengers could feel the shift, the gentle dip of altitude that signaled the end of the journey was near. Outside, Dubai was now ablaze with artificial brilliance, its towers and highways glowing against the darkness of the desert. The city looked alive, pulsing with energy, as though welcoming its king back home. The landing lights illuminated the ground below, stretching like a pathway of stars waiting for the aircraft's return. With a controlled descent, the A380 lowered itself toward the runway, the wheels extending with a mechanical certainty that resonated through the cabin. The engines adjusted once more, their steady roar becoming a guiding force as the massive plane aligned perfectly with its target. In those final moments, passengers held their breath, anticipating the impact, though the crew in the cockpit remained calm, their hands steady on the controls. Then came the touch, the wheels meeting the tarmac with a smooth grace that seemed impossible for something so large. The rumble of contact filled the cabin, yet it was gentle, almost dignified, as though the aircraft were bowing before its kingdom. The reverse thrust roared, slowing the giant with controlled power, and the runway lights streaked by as the aircraft decelerated. Finally, the pace eased, the engines relaxed, and the A380 rolled proudly toward the terminal, bathed in the glow of airport floodlights. From the ground, spectators and workers alike turned to watch the giant's arrival, the way one would watch a monarch returning to its throne. The massive wings cast long shadows across the tarmac, and the sheer presence of the aircraft commanded silence and admiration. For those on board, there was a sense of triumph, of having been part of something greater than a mere flight. They had ridden with the king of the sky, and now, as the engines quieted and the doors prepared to open, the journey came to a close with the same grandeur with which it began. The A380 had risen, ruled the skies, and returned with the dignity of a sovereign, proving once again why it bore its royal title.